Someone will probably excellent. That was the note we wanted to hear. That's great. You know what? I think we should make a start. Um, welcome everyone to the online launch of the digital and tech sector training toolkit from the Carbon Literacy Project, uh, which has been a collaboration between us and Autotrader and Manchester Digital, of whom we'll hear a bit more in a minute. Let's crack on. I'm Phil Corbell. I'm the co-founder of the project and its director of external relations, which means I introduce this project to a lot of people. You'll be hearing from our panel. And actually, let's just get everyone to say hello from the panel and just say where you're from. We'll be hearing more about you in a bit. Ravi?
Hi everyone, my name's Ravi. I'm the Digital and Tech Sector Coordinator at the Carbon Literacy Project.
And
Yeah,
Mark?
really looking forward to speaking today.
And Mark?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, my name is Mark Kirkwood. I'm the ESG lead over at Littlefish. We're a managed services provider in IT, obviously, based in Nottingham. Good to be here.
Thank you. Ellie?
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Ellie. I'm the community exec at Manchester Digital. We're a digital and tech trades body based in Greater Manchester, and it's lovely to see so many of you this morning.
Christos?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, good morning. I'm Christos. I'm the People and Culture Director at Autotrader. Good to be here.
And last but by no means least, Payal.
Hi, everyone. I'm Payal Shah from Good for Earth. And I would like to say I'm present globally, but Good for Earth is over here providing toolkits alongside Carbon Literacy Project and take you all through a learning journey of learning, engaging, and action.
Thank you so much. So that's our star-studded cast. Now, the slightly less interesting bit, as if I needed a slide. But yes, what we're going to do today, I should say, the agenda is we're going to have a bit of a general introduction to carbon literacy, and then it gets much more interesting because it's not me, and you'll be hearing from the panel about their multifaceted involvement in carbon literacy for their sector. And then we'll have a short presentation from Payal about what she's done with carbon literacy, how it's worked for her. Then your chance to ask questions, and then we'll wrap things up with looking forward to how you can actually engage. We're not expecting fire alarms. No, that's wrong, sort of. Sorry. That's basically what we're going to do. If you have questions as we go, please put them into the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. That's Q&A, and our colleagues will attempt to answer your questions as we go. But if things go to plan, we'll have a time for Q&A at the end as well. So, some of you know us, some of you don't. So let's start with the basics. What is carbon literacy? Now, this definition that you can read was given to us by a fantastic working group of employers and academics and campaigners, because we knew we needed to establish an endemic and impactful low carbon culture for everyone. This was 12 plus years ago in Manchester with the helping the city draw up its first climate action plan. Why? Because we felt that the solutions, of which there are so many, as you know, all felt very, very supply side. It came in a box or it was done to you. And we felt that this shift in culture was vital to get buy-in and to build capacity. So this wasn't just a thing for the eco specialists, that everyone could do their best thing, basically. Everyone has a role to play, but how would we get people to realize the relevance, thus the motivation to do this, and to give them the tools, the ability to do their best thing? So that's what we set out to do, and we do this by enabling the use of an adaptable framework for a day's worth of learning and doing on climate action. And just to go back to that definition, this is not just climate education. It's not a quick thing about greenhouse gases and global warming. This is about action, absolutely about action and relevance, and that's why it works. And we'll come back to the scale of impact in a minute. So, as I say, it's a day's worth. What's in that day? These are the things that we mandate from the carbon literacy standard, our framework. Yeah, the knowledge has got to be there. Of course, you've got to have a baseline of that science. The greenhouse gases, the scary bit, what happens if we carry on the current trajectory? And also, I say, how to get this across. Really, really important. And action. If you're in the environment zone, there's that ongoing thing about, is it individuals or is it system change? And no, of course it's both. And we believe that individual action at scale can actually create the system change we need to see. So individual action is important, but we've got to work together. And also those solutions have to be fair and equitable. So we do talk about climate justice. We talk about just transition. Learning method. This is so important. You could have the best content in any training, but if the methodology isn't right, it can fall flat, as you know. So relevance all the way through. Funnily enough, this toolkit is all about digital and tech. I very much hope that polar bears have not snuck in here, because this is not about polar bears. This is about us. It is about your work. Yep. A day's worth, which can be chunked. The BBC put people in a room for a day. The British Antarctic Survey on the research vessel, the Sir David Attenborough, will train for an hour a day after dinner in the ship's lounge. How does this fit into your learning culture? That's really important. And active collaboration. It's when you talk to your peers about this that things really start to crystallize. And then action. At the end of every course, everyone has to devise, they have to apply their learning and devise some action, their best actions. That gets written down and it gets sent back to us. So that's every course will have all of this in there along with your stuff. And even within the toolkit that we're going to describe, there are adaptable sections that can look at your subsection of the sector, your company, your location, etc. So about us, the Carbon Literacy Project, we are a charity based in Manchester, about 90 of us on the payroll. This is us in numbers. I think it was a few weeks ago, not many weeks ago, because we've actually gone past 130,000 learners now. And yeah, heading for 880 courses. That's extraordinary. Toolkits will come to explain something slightly different. The courses are what people have devised particularly for individual organizations or specialist sectors that are owned by the author. Toolkits are a shared resource. You'll also see the spread of nations there, 45 nations. It is actually very hard to keep up. We're growing at an extraordinary rate. In fact, I like to look at our growth rate. Anyone in the climate zone will know about the hockey stick graph, talking about CO2 rise. This is our rise. I call this the good hockey stick. Now, this has been achieved through a very high budget advertising campaign. No, it hasn't. This has been achieved because it works. Our growth has come mainly through word of mouth, because it lands so very well. The sort of benefits that you can expect, and this is feedback from our people that have done this. It's a very quantifiable way of walking the walk. So for public perception and reputation, you can join an organization and you know that you will be this very tangible thing, carbon literacy, will be delivered to you as a staff member. It's a way of walking the walk in a very tangible and impactful way. in terms of reaching your sustainability goals, this is about capacity. I remember talking to the climate analyst for a well-known maker of soap. She has to do all the scope 3 data, the gnarly stuff about exactly where in the supply chain and every aspect of the organization their footprint comes from. And she said, this is like walking around with a loose box of puzzle pieces. And she said she realized that it was actually, she realized that the puzzle pieces came from different puzzles. So she needed her colleagues on board to enable the company to perform better. Cutting carbon, saving money, motivated staff are going to simply save money. From the basics of switching off lights and shutting doors. We had one company we're working with. Yep, they're finally shutting the big bay doors on their warehouse as a result of their training. So, you know, it can be as basic as that, people motivated to do more. And then this competitive advantage thing. When your clients, when your customers, when the staff that you want to recruit need you to up your game on climate, this is, as I say, that very, very quantifiable badge that, that you can put on your organization. We actually do have an organizational badge as well, the Carbon Literate Organization badge too. So how does it actually work? Oh, sorry, I missed more benefits before we get to that. Again, I hope this speaks for itself. You're making yourself distinctive in the market. The thing about risk management, resilience. How do you proof your organization against climate shocks, whether physical or in the market? The stakeholder engagement piece is really important too. It's how you can enhance those conversations. How, if you're dealing with a client base who might not be aware of climate risk and opportunity, how do you open those conversations and drive them to the services and products that you provide? And then there's that badge, as I mentioned before, the Carbon Literate Organization badge. It's a bronze to platinum ladder, and we're having the award ceremony for that in Manchester. Oh, is it a week today? No, 2 weeks today. 2 weeks today. We're going. About 200 people will be gathering in Manchester for our annual celebration for that. Stay tuned for more news on that. So yes, sorry. As I was saying, how the training works. It's a day's worth. I've mentioned that, and peer-to-peer delivery is very important too. We feel that the training needs to be delivered by someone that the learners recognize. I think that's really crucial. They have standing with the learner group. We certify learners by the quality of the actions that I mentioned before. So those actions are written down, sent to us, and it's a pass-fail thing, and they're always proportionate actions as well. We don't expect the same from someone on the shop floor as we would from the C-suite. And those prices there for certificates are the current prices. Do go to our website, carbonliteracy.com, because those prices are going up on July the 1st. What I've been referring to before broadly are courses where an organization or an individual comes to us, designs a course, and we certify it. We're now looking increasingly at sector-focused, shareable training resources. This was initiated with the public sector, where recognition is very high, but now very much branching out into the private sector. And it isn't just a pre-accredited course. It's very, very comprehensive training materials as well. It's as close to something off the shelf. It's still adaptable for your organization or area. But as we say, there's a lot to help any trainer get on with this. Those sectors, as a brief look there, go to carbonliteracy.com to have a look at those are just, as I say, some of the sectors that we're dealing with at the moment, more coming through all the time. So what does this mean for your sector? Again, you can see the application of our framework to your sector. And we'll go into this in a bit with Ravi, but broadly, it's giving you the baseline of knowledge. What is the footprint of the core functions of what you do? Where are we? That the regulations that impact on you. What's this COP that they talk about every year? What are the national and local regulatory frameworks? And what's coming down the line in terms of what your clients are asking for as well? And that little bit about what you can do in your personal lives as well. And then action all the way. So that broadly is an outline, I have to say a slightly rushed outline of what we do. But I'd like to move on. And by the way, do keep your questions coming in on Q&A at the bottom of your screen. But let's have a quick introduction for our panel and hear a bit more about their specialisms. So if we can go round, if that's okay, you've had an introduction, but we're first going to hear from Ravi. Ravi, you're our lead on the sector. Could you describe a bit more? And by the way, Ravi, I presume you're going to take control of the slides at the moment.
Yeah.
That's great. So yeah, walk us through a bit more of the content of the toolkit, if you would.
Yeah, sure. More than happy to. So essentially, through the period of the last year, we worked together with Autotrader and Manchester Digital to create a focus group and a writing group to really drill down as to what are the key important ideas when it comes to dealing with the issues caused by climate change in the digital and tech sector. How does this affect AI, hardware, software, procurement? All these key areas that are really important and really relevant to people working in the digital and tech sector. So through these focus groups and writing groups, we really did a hard few months of research to really get to understand why there are, difficulties dealing with climate change in the sector. And we eventually put together these resources. These slides that you'll see coming up now are essentially sample slides from the toolkit, so you get sort of a feeling of exactly what's in there. As was mentioned by Phil, we do cover sort of the core areas, weather and climate, so that everyone who takes the course has an understanding of the key issues when it comes to climate change, the greenhouse effect, etc. But then we bring it down and take it across to how does that affect the digital and tech sector. So, for example, this is some of the latest research from the IEA, the International Energy Agency, that's going to look at how energy usage is predicted to increase over the next few years due to increasing demand from technologies such as AI and crypto, and specifically data centers. That energy pull is something that's really a key understanding for people undertaking this course. And we then just make sure that it's relevant from everyone across all sizes of all parts of the organization, whether you're a coder or a business developer or a team leader. All the content is geared to help you understand and be curious about how you can make an impact through your actions in the digital and tech sector. As I mentioned, AI, a really interesting and complex topic when it comes to climate change, and something that's really vastly changed a lot over the last year as well. But this is the kind of suggestions that we make. We understand that what a great tool AI can be, but also that there's a lot of associated climate risk with using it. So that this is the kind of detail that we go into in terms of what learners will understand in terms of the associated climate risks with using technology. So there's a few more slides here, just also illustrating a little bit about the government resources, these policy positions that are explained in terms of the UK perspective. There's a whole lot of resources from the government that are put together to support businesses in supporting their emissions reporting and generally driving down their decarbonisation through various programs. Some of it which that you may not actually be familiar with, but that's what they're there. That's what these resources are for, and that's what these policies are in place for. to support businesses in the digital and tech sector. And as I also mentioned, this is for everyone in the organization. It's a frequent problem where I find that sustainability managers working in silos they're not able to necessarily put across the message that everyone has a bit of agency in, reducing these key emissions. These kind of activities are a really key point through the course, the Toolkit course. These kind of activities really engage everyone because they realize what kind of agency they have in supporting those emissions reporting, and they actually have an agency. So that's what this slide is showing that everyone has a responsibility and everyone has an impact, and this is going to really support businesses in achieving their aims when it comes to reducing their carbon.
That's a lovely sketch of some of the content there.
Yeah.
We've got a broad partnership of folk involved in the devising of this. You mentioned those focus groups. Who else is involved in the creation of the toolkit, Ravi?
So we had contributions from organizations like Nexa, Manchester Digital organization, Enlighten. Enlighten are fantastic. They are a supplier of data houses, and they have a really great model where they supply certain data houses where the excess heat that is generated from those servers is used to power community swimming pools. Like a wonderful example of how being more efficient can lead to cost savings and co-benefits across the community. And there are really many more organizations that help support building the content in the toolkit.
And plans for this year? I mean, we'll be talking about how to get involved at the end of the webinar, but this is our launch year. How's that looking?
Yeah, we started off really well. At the minute, we're engaged with over 20 organizations, from global MNCs down to small, micro organizations. It's really kicking off. I think we're starting to see that there is a really big need, and looking towards 2030, technology is going to really play a pivotal role when it comes to bringing down emissions within global sectors, because IT and technology is so well integrated with all kinds of in different sectors itself. There really is that responsibility, which is a really key theme this year, I feel, within the sustainability world, of playing the part, making the most of the opportunity that technology and the digital space has in reducing emissions. So it's really taking off. We're getting lots of engagement, lots of international, and we'll hear a little bit more from Pyle in a bit. International interest. We're getting versions of the toolkit being used in the US, in Singapore, and also in Africa. So yeah, Fantastic. It's really, really kicking off in the right way.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ravi. Christos from Autotrader. If you missed Christos at the beginning, he's the head of people and culture, and has led the charge on carbon literacy there. Christos, when we first met, I made a mistake. I thought you were an automotive thing, and then there's this dawning realization that, of course, it's digital and tech. Tell us a bit about why you've picked up on carbon literacy and what it's done for Autotrader.
Yes, that's a very common misconception. Although we sit comfortably, we're a tech business, but our customers are in the automotive industry. So we sit very comfortably within the two industries that, both play a big part and can play, there's a big opportunity to play a bigger part when it comes to decarbonization. But yeah, I think when we first met, it must have been 7 years ago, it was by word of mouth, and it was thanks to our neighbors, a neighboring organization, an art center called Home, just across our headquarters. And we were introduced, and we piloted carbon literacy. And I think in contrast to some other sort of like awareness training, education training, this is actually a day that our colleagues enjoyed, and they wanted to recommend it to their colleagues, and they wanted everyone to participate in that. And I think that is the big difference when it comes to carbon literacy. It's something that your colleagues will take part, and actually come out of it, with loads of awareness, education, demystifying a lot of this, a lot of this area, and actually will bring colleagues together. I think sometimes when it comes to sustainability, when it comes to the environment, can be pitched as a very divisive subject, which it shouldn't really be because it concerns everyone. And I think carbon literacy does a wonderful thing by demystifying and bringing people together in an organization to actually act. And that's the most important thing. It's like they start acting. So
it is that enjoyable. That's the thing which we often miss. It's such a special ingredient. The feedback we get across sectors on carbon literacy is how well it lands as enjoyable. No one could say that the climate crisis is an enjoyable subject, yet somehow we've got a fulfilling training thing going on. So how it grew from that local contact. What's the standing of carbon literacy in Autotrader at the moment?
yeah, it grew through the years. The majority of our people are carbon literate, and all our new starters, and a lot of our actually new recruits, they are actually attracted to Autotrader because of our carbon literacy stages as well. So it's a great attraction tool. It has mobilized the whole business to actually make sustainability part of the core of the business. We've got an environmental strategy that has three main pillars. The first one is about our own operations and our net zero commitments. And the second one is about how we Autotrader, we are the leading marketplace where everyone in the UK comes to buy and sell a vehicle. So we've got the responsibility there to educate and raise awareness about how does all the consumers, how do they make the right choice for them that's environmentally friendly, but the right choice for them. And there's loads of choices actually. That's not just electric vehicles. It could be electric bikes. It could be a used vehicle that's already been produced. It's about giving them the right choice and the right awareness to make the right choice for them. And then the third pillar is about what do we do with the work that we do with the government and sharing all the data that we have that's informing the government strategy and our industries. And this is where carbon literacy comes. As I said, we sit very comfortably within the automotive industry, but we're a technology business. So the toolkit that we have, co-created and funded for the automotive industry was a big success. More than 5,000 people in the automotive industry are carbon literate because of it, more than 250 organizations, and that's growing and growing. This year we're aiming to get to 10,000, and it's another hockey stick that's going in the right direction. And we thought, we need one of those toolkits for the tech and digital industry. We partner with Manchester Digital on so many different initiatives. So together with Manchester Digital, obviously the carbon literacy, and other companies like Money Group and Little Fish, who's we're going to hear from in a minute. That was a toolkit that was created by the industry for the industry. And the reason why we support those toolkits is because we very much aligned to the ethos of carbon literacy. We want to accelerate the introduction of carbon literacy into businesses. We don't want that initial barrier of having to create an accredited toolkit to be there. We want that to be ready, and we create the toolkits, and then we do a lot for the introduction of the toolkit. So we do our open days where people can come and experience it as well. And it's part of actually creating a change across our industries. So taking what we've done internally and then sharing that with all the businesses across our industries.
Which speaks volumes about the impacts that it takes from you. Thank you, Christos. And I always remember reflecting with you on the impacts there, and you talked about how it deepened your existing relationship. So I think that it's multifaceted how this lands so well. So Mark, you were cued in there, Mark from Little Fish. So why the involvement in carbon literacy?
That's a very good question. Thanks, Phil. So as ESG lead, I was quite new to the business at the start of last year, and I was really looking, having started in the role, to try and develop a network of sort of like-minded individuals within the business. And so we created a green team. Obviously, it's usually a first step for a lot of businesses that are looking to try and improve their performance on sustainability. We have, a kind of fairly high level and generic ESG module as part of our staff induction, but I was really looking to be able to offer something a bit more comprehensive and a bit more relevant to our worked experience at Little Fish and in the sector, in the wider sector. So a simple internet search later, and I discovered the Carbon Literacy Project, and shortly after that, I'd registered my interest in the digital and tech sector toolkit, and it was kind of history from there, really. But I would say that I was very fortunate in that I had kind of exec level support and encouragement to explore these opportunities in the first instance, which really helped to make this whole journey a lot easier, I must say.
And does this speak to the notion that climate performance is a core parameter, a criteria for success in the sector, do you think?
I mean, I think it's so all pervasive. I think, having a sustainable mindset and being aware of the impact that your operations have on the environment and that your business has on the environment and its local community, naturally, I think means that it will organically affect everything you do. So taking a more sustainable approach and making people more aware of how to act more sustainably will bleed into, business as usual. I see it.
It has to. Well, we would say that. And how's it going to roll out across Little Fish, Mark?
So I mean, so it started with me attending the beautiful Autotrader offices actually last year. Thanks, Christos, for the invite as well for that. And I took part in the kind of pilot sessions, and from there I was able to sort of get an idea and get an understanding of the training. And then by the start of this year, I was delivering it and rolling out the training to a modest cohort of the staff who represent our green team and Little Fish, and I delivered those sessions virtually, and so I was able to provide some feedback, to Ravi and yourselves on the content and how it landed, and any feedback and Q&As and that sort of thing to help develop any of the content further. It was really, really well received. All the staff really enjoyed the sessions, and they took a lot away from it, and I think it was able to then kind of again bleed into their everyday work. And so the plans for the future now, once everyone's certified, is to integrate those individual and group actions that the training encourages you to, or requires you to commit to, start to integrate those into our plans as a green team, and actually have those as kind of core focuses in a way, and actually really keep us centered on our actions. And then from there, as you might imagine, I'm looking to expand the training throughout the business, more cross-departmental links that I can hit, the better. And then eventually I'd love to aim for carbon literate organization status in the foreseeable future.
So we'll see you next summer for the awards. That's brilliant.
Exactly, that's the one. Exactly. Save me a seat.
But I think you picked up some really good themes there about how things move on after the training, the importance of embedding the actions that come out of the training into work as you go on. Much more to hear from you, Mark. I'm sorry that time's against us as ever. Sorry, but thank you for that. Ellie, Manchester Digital, you look after the sector. So what's your impression of this as an agenda coming through in the sector?
I mean, yeah, like you said, Manchester Digital are in a really fortunate and sort of unique position in that we have relationships with a whole range of different businesses and organisations in the digital and tech sector. We're a membership organisation, and our members tell us things that are important to them, their challenges, things that they are finding in terms of things like recruitment and what people are interested in. And we found that people were wanting to kind of broaden their knowledge on sustainability, that they found that it was something that was really attracting new hires, that people were asking about what are your sustainability pledges and your goals, where are you kind of heading in that direction. And when we were approached by Carbon Literacy to get involved in the digital and tech sector toolkit, it just was a no-brainer, because we're in such a lucky position that we have such great relationships, loads of organisations, that we could tailor this toolkit to make it super impactful and make sure that the things in there were relevant and were helpful, and make sure people got lots of value out of it. And we knew our members wanted it. We knew it was something that people wanted to be involved in and wanted to improve on. So it was just, a no-brainer to get involved.
Oh, I like that. That's great. And also, this is another recurring theme, the demand from would-be employees. I think, Christos, you touched on this in our early conversations. You've got someone across the table from you in an interview that you want to recruit, and they're saying to you, how are you getting your climate act together? So in terms of that, attracting and retaining the best talent, that's another thing that keeps coming up. So Manchester Digital at the front end of this, how are you enabling people to come on board to find out how this is going with introductory training and the like?
Yeah, so we were really involved in the sort of production of the toolkit, and we got reached out to a lot of our members to get their voices heard and to invite them to contribute. Like Ravi mentioned before, people like Next and Enlighten are members of Manchester Digital, and they were really involved in the writing group of the toolkit, which I'm really proud of, that they wanted to be involved and that they contributed so heavily to it, which is brilliant. And now we're kind of in the process of running monthly training sessions. I'm going to do a shameless bit of self-promo here just because I've got to, but we've actually got some training sessions coming up in June on the 25th and 26th, which are online, which you can register for, and we'd love to have you there. The training's been going really well. We've got kind of a mixture of our members kind of coming along and non-members who all want to go along. I think because it's free training, it's a full day, and as you know, as Ravi mentioned before, and Ravi and Christos mentioned, it's fun. People kind of leave it thinking, wow, okay, I feel like I can do something about this, rather than a sort of like doom and gloom of, oh my gosh, like what are we going to do about this climate crisis? I think people leave thinking, I've got some actions and some ways to move forward, and I think it's just a brilliant way of getting people involved and kind of starting that change.
Fantastic. And no, that's really useful. Ellie, thank you so much. And thanks for the support from Manchester Digital and obviously from Autotrader for funding us as well. So let's move on to Payal and Good for Earth. Payal, now the slide control is with you. Have you picked that up there? Yep, great. That's marvelous. Payal, tell us a bit about yourselves and your work. Over to you.
Excellent. First of all, thank you for this opportunity and collaboration. So this is Payal Shah from Good for Earth, and happy to collaborate with the Carbon Literacy Project. So let's start just with a little bit about me. So, I've been in the tech industry for a very long time, 20 plus years, 23 years actually, and worked with a lot of big companies like Coca-Cola, Warner Brothers, Cornerstone On Demand, helping them create, manage, and launch database, tech-based products. And also, been kind of, have created a lot of award-winning solutions for the companies. And that's why I got the Employee of the Year award amongst the 2,000 employees, right? Besides that, I've also had the opportunity to actually grow revenue and commercialize some of the e-learning products for these companies, and taking them to revenue from 10 million to 40 million less than 3 years. And I've been grateful to be a part of renowned organizations like UCLA and Cambridge. And because of that, have had plenty of speaking opportunities to inspire people and talk about education, right? And so when I'm not, doing my digital projects, I'm actually quite busy volunteering in organizations where my passion is about diversity, inclusion, equity, and STEM education, specifically for women and children. And now I'm expanding that passion to climate change. And so a little bit of Good for Earth is like with the same passion, I started Good for Earth, where we really want to take our customers through a journey of learning, engaging, and action. And our mission is quite simple, which is like, we feel that every single individual as well as an organization can have a positive impact on our planet. And we want to inspire communities to kind of adopt to environmentally friendly and responsible behaviors by providing them toolkits that are actionable, practical, and personalized, and the ones that they can embed in their day-to-day life and professional lives. And so let's talk a little bit about our digital footprint, right? And this is just a question for everyone here in the session. Like, do you associate, every swipe, scroll, or store action that you take, do you associate that with carbon emissions? Pretty unlikely, right? Because when we are doing these actions, we don't kind of think about carbon emissions. But surprisingly, digital tech is responsible for 3.7% of the global greenhouse gases emissions. And it is just expanding with this introduction of AI, right? And so I think it is quite important what Carbon Literacy Project is doing with their digital tech toolkit, right? The first step of solving any problem is actually being aware of it, understanding it deeply. And so that's when you can kind of take some action. And that's really why I'm very excited about, the Carbon Literacy Project. And let's talk a little bit about why is this toolkit the best. I think, it is actually a game changer because it comes with practical toolkits like, how can you do sustainable software development? If you want to build AI responsibly, what could you think about? There are strategies over there to have like low carbon digital strategies, right? So there are things over here in this toolkit that's kind of actionable, which you can learn, take, and implement in your teams, in your organizations. And above all, I think what I really love is they also tie these topics to equity, climate justice, and practicality. So to me, that is the most important thing. And I would really highly recommend that you go through these sessions. But you don't have to listen to me. You just try it out. Is all I'm saying. And so what was my experience as a climate literacy facilitator? It was fantastic, actually. As Ravi mentioned, I trained a global set of very passionate people across US, Canada, Germany, UK. And the conversations, we all came together on a common topic, which is the passion about how do we kind of make these changes related to climate change. And as the conversations revolved around a global dialogue, what also they came in to learn, but they stayed because there was this global dialogue that was going on in terms of legislations and policies and actions, and also from that global perspective to local action, right? Like, okay, fine, we are all in different areas of the world. What can we do in our own local communities? So that was pretty impactful to see. And every session I do, I always learn so much more from my learners that it's amazing. At least the sessions are interactive, they're inspiring, both to me as well as to the participants, right? And this time about I deepened my knowledge about not only just climate science, climate mitigation, climate adaptation, but how to talk about co-benefits and sustainability together. This is quite important because when you in your organization are trying to introduce the whole concepts of sustainability, you just really kind of need to explain the co-benefits, and there are absolutely co-benefits for sustainability. It's efficiency, cost optimization, innovation. Like you can name all of these and they will be still relevant. And so that was what I kind of learned from the toolkit. But the most inspiring part of these sessions is always the pledges that the individual pledges that people come up with, the group pledges, because you can see in here, just within the span of, so our session was virtual as well, and we did 2 4-hour sessions. And it was amazing just within that period of time how people embrace this concept and brought this into okay, what can I do in my local community? What can I do in my organization, right? And it transformed, these conversations transformed to all the way having green UX, initiatives to even, sustainable data flows. So I think, definitely kind of worth, these things. And so what's next for us is at Good for Earth, we've recognized that learners have different learning styles. And so we cater to two learning styles. The one, which we already spoke about, is the expert-led workshops powered by Carbon Literacy, which are either 1 8-hour or 2 4-hour sessions, where we really jump deep dive and have interactive sessions, come out with something more actionable. but we also have something for busy professionals who like self-paced and who like to kind of do things at their own pace, some micro-learning content. So we launched our first micro-learning content on sustainable fashion. And why sustainable fashion? Because fashion industry contributes 10% to our global emissions, and we all wear clothes and we will need to. And so there's like practical, tips for all of us as individuals, professionals, as well as companies, that we can kind of take from there. And what's coming next for us is, just role-based green product development. Like, again, taking this concept and making it more and more actionable, and also perhaps a micro-learning series on digital tech and sustainability. And currently, I am collaborating with innovators in Carbon 13 accelerators. So brainstorming on lots and lots of good ideas and coming up with, more solutions. So there's definitely more stuff happening on our side as well. And last but least is, we are launching. I'll be more than happy to share our QR code for our micro-learning session, or just get in touch with me if you want to have the workshop, for digital tech. I think that's all from me. And thank you for having me.
Oh, Payal, thank you. Gosh, what an amazing story of engagement, relevance, and excitement. I think we're getting this sense of excitement from the existing rollout and what's going on, what can happen. So, folks, your opportunity now for maybe 10 minutes to pop some questions into the Q&A. Some interesting stuff that's come up. Pricing, let's just get that completely clear. Thank you, anonymous attendee asking. At the moment, the Toolkit, which is a pre-accredited course with adaptable content, is free to use. But that does also require you to certify your learners, and there's a sliding scale for that in order to from at the moment the lowest level is £10 up to £30. On July the 1st those prices are going up. There's a chance within that to buy certification ahead of the 1st of July as well, but as I say, sliding scale depending on sector, size of organization as well, just to be clear on that. And the toolkit is free for the moment while we're just launching the thing. Other questions that if you look at Q&A defining tech and digital, we have to have a wide definition there. I think that's only fair. Sometimes you might be a tech and digital organization, or it can be for the tech and digital people within an organization, of course, or indeed for the people managing them, so they're getting a handle on the impacts of what their specialist staff are doing as well. Elsewhere within this, I'm going to throw to you, Ravi. Are you picking up any questions yourself that can be addressed here?
Yeah, I think I just put up the slide here. What's the sort of the call to action? It's, if you're interested in engaging with the carbon literacy project and the toolkit specifically, just drop an email to digital@carbonliteracy.com. As Ellie mentioned, we are running our next open training through the summer months in June and July. The dates for June are the 25th and 26th, and we have, I think, the 12th and 13th of June, 7th and 8th of July. I have to double check that with Ellie, actually. Is that I can't remember if that's the right date.
8 and 9. I've just popped them in the chat as well, so if you'd like to register, then please do. I'd love to have you there.
Interesting. Eliza's asking, are they all online? Ellie, are they all online?
No, so we do have some in-person training as well. Our next in-person training will be in September 15th, and that's the full 8-hour day. I can pop the link for that in there as well. And then throughout the summer months, they're all online, split over 2 days, so 2 half days, so from 9:30 till 1 each day.
Thank you very much indeed. Question from Adela. Do I just email asking for access to the toolkit? The answer being Ravi.
Yeah, so access is available for anyone who's carbon literate. So that means that you have to undertake any of the training that's either offered with us at Manchester Digital or the numerous other training providers worldwide. You need to go and understand what it means to be carbon literate, go and get certified, and then you could start to have access to the toolkit. Part of the journey as well is that if you're going to take the toolkit and you want to train other people, is that you also attend a short 1.5-hour webinar called Delivering Successful Carbon Literacy. That means once you've done that, you're able to understand how to deliver the training, how to communicate carbon literacy, and how to support rolling that out across organizations. And yeah, and at that point, that's when you can start getting your hands on the toolkit, and I can help support you on that journey.
To expand on that, in order to deliver carbon literacy training, as in this case, deploy the training toolkit, you need to be carbon literate, as Ravi said. The quality control comes through when we are looking at the evidence of what comes back to us. So that's a relatively low bar for stepping up to do the training. But one, the guidance in the manual is very, very detailed indeed. I always remember an early toolkit user saying, no, I literally picked it up 2 days before I delivered the training, and it held my hand at every point, they said. So that level of detail is there. And adaptability is really important as well. Typically within a toolkit, I don't know the exact numbers for this one, but say there are 150 slides, 10, 12 of those are pre-formatted blanks where you put your stuff. Yeah, so it's loads in there about the sector, but your organization, your location, your specialism, you can put that into the toolkit to deliver to your people. Again, strengthening the relevance piece consistently as we go. So, Ravi, are there questions coming in?
Just having a look now, yes. Yes.
Oh, Adela, that's interesting. Sorry, I'm jumping across you there. You're already a facilitator. So yes, good to go. I think that'd be great. And Anonymous. Yes, hello, Anonymous. I think the content, I'd hope, excuse me, I'd hope that the content of this will help you of this event, but we do have a briefing sheet introducing carbon literacy, a very nicely designed, quite pithy PDF that is available on request. But those few sentences, excuse me, really it's about a foundation, an impactful foundation to build capacity within your organization. It does not create brand new, highly qualified environmental managers. Go to IEMA for that or other organizations. This is your stepping on point. It's not your quick bit of, we're going to blap through greenhouse gases and the climate crisis. This is impactful because it is a day's worth. So it's a foundation, and it's about how you turn your people into your climate team as well. So these are the sorts of things that we bring to the table as to the strengths of what carbon literacy brings. And again, if you look back on the recording of this event, some of the slides we had there looking at benefits are available to you as well. We're also there to help you as a would-be advocate as well. It's very much in our interest for you to be able to land this with the people that can sign off on taking it into your organization. That's something that Ravi, or perhaps myself, can help with in terms of strengthening the core. I hope that's helpful. So yeah, if there are any other questions, get them in now. But wave a hand. But I think, oh, we've got Mark, please.
Hello, not a question, but just an additional point. I just thought I'd share is that certainly if there's anyone here today from smaller companies, or maybe they're just a team of one in their company, which is sort of the position I'm in, I found the toolkit kind of really invaluable for trying to kind of mobilize those key, or at least some key stakeholders within the business, who you can then kind of bring up to a certain level of kind of awareness of the climate science and the sector's impact as a whole. It really helped me to talk about those next steps, talk about what we should be doing next, and where we should focus on as a business. And so not having a sustainability team was less detrimental after I'd completed the carbon literacy training and had mobilized and aware individuals and peers that could then support me with some of the things I wanted to do as ESG lead. So that was really useful outcome.
Capacity building is absolutely it, Mark. Thank you, thank you very much for bringing that in, because that's something which we hear consistently. How do you build that capacity? If you're watching this as a member of your green team or your ESG lead, yeah, typically you might feel you're overstretched and under-resourced. That's a sweeping generalization, of course. So how do you build the capacity to respond to the opportunities and risks that climate change brings to the organization? Yes, Ravi.
Yeah, just flagging another question I don't think that we covered off. The question was, is there a way to add a carbon literacy certified stamp onto LinkedIn or email signatures? The answer is yes. Everyone, once you receive a carbon literacy certificate, you have access to a stamp that you can put on the at the end of the emails as part of your signature. And there's something that you can definitely also add and in part of the LinkedIn credential as well.
I'm just seeing the message there from Marco about the QR code. We will have to remedy that and we can send out links. If you've signed up, if you've registered for this, we can send a follow-up amended connection there, I'm sure. Thank you for spotting that, Marco, as well. So yeah, Mark, did you still have your hand up for another point? Or was that nope, fine, that's good. Panel, any closing thoughts before we draw this to a close? No, we're good, it looks like. Thank you very much for attending today. Thank you for your interest. We'd like, and thank you for that feedback, Eliza. So yes, we are here, we're standing by to fill in any gaps. As I say, there are materials, briefing materials, oversight of the toolkit, etc. Anything we can do to help you explore further. There's nothing quite like doing it, to introduce yourself or to colleagues. So please take up Ellie's offer of the training at Manchester Digital. Nothing quite like it. Even if you think you probably do know your climate stuff, you'll see this in action. And that gives you the best grounding to assess how this could impact on your organization. So thank you so much for joining us today and giving up your valuable time. I do hope that your carbon literacy journey proceeds from here and helps you enable your organization to thrive, whoever you are, wherever you are. So thanks for joining us. Do stay in touch. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the week. Bye-bye.
Wondering if anyone wants to ask any questions just as we're ending, we're happy to answer them.
I think most people have left the building, which is, but while you're still here, panel, thank you, colleagues, thank you so much. Any thoughts, feedbacks, reflections before we let you go?
No, I think we'll get a question about the £1,000 for the toolkit. It might worth be answering so that people don't think that.
Yeah. So yeah, if you are a looking
I
to
see.
deliver as an independent trainer, as a privately across various organizations, there is a fee for accessing the toolkit.
So anonymous, if you're still there, I think that's a point which we would seek to address. Let's put it that way. Recognize that as a barrier. Maybe we'll have to look at that. But thanks for putting it in. Do get in touch. Make yourself known. Thanks for spotting that, Crystal. Yeah, Mark.
Hello, just while we're all here, I was just curious how often the toolkits will be updated. Is it that you'll try to kind of do an annual refresh, or you just attempt to try to keep them, current as best you can? I'm just wondering what the approach might be moving forward for the toolkits.
So yeah, I think Mark, we're going to try and do 2 updates a year. So I think just because particularly the sector is moving so quickly, I'm going to look to do updates based on a lot of the feedback that you've already given as well, Mark, in late June and beginning of July, which will be version 1.5.
Great.
And then I think version 2 about January next year.
Fab. Thank you. No, it's good to know that it's being kept, especially it feels like in the tech sector, things move so quickly that 6 months later, the
Understatement.
the research is almost out of date.
Yeah, totally get that. Totally get that. Especially with this stuff. People, what are they calling it? Artificial intelligence or something?
I'm sure it's just a fad.
Yeah. Quote you on that one, Mark.
Probably a fad that'll change our lives, I guess.
Indeed, indeed.
But no, thank you so much for your contributions. I always feel that we're it's such rich content. I'd like to give it more time, but obviously we're constrained by people's availability as audience as well. We'll come back to you, I'm sure, to retell some of these stories. But thank you so much for the time, input, and any other feedback will be very, very welcome as ever. Yeah, thanks all. Lovely to meet the folk that I hadn't met before.
Mark has one more question, seems like.
Oh no, I don't. No, I don't. I was waving goodbye. You're okay.
Thank you.